Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
All right, very excited to have Taylor Bisciotti in studio with us in our podcast studio, which she just said very nice things about, which makes me happy.
It's pretty incredible. It's a lot smaller than you guys probably think as you're watching and listening, but it's kind of small.
It is,
but
it is very small.
So
yes.
Shout out to all of you guys who are doing such an incredible job and making it look as glamorous as it really is.
Thank you. It was at one time not glamorous. It looked like somewhere you would record a hostage video in, and now it's actually presentable. So thank you for saying that, and thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Taylor is at NFL Network for 4 seasons now.
Yeah, this is my 4th season.
And you're originally from
Atlanta,
and you went to Georgia.
Yes.
So are they going to get in?
Yes, definitely.
I hope they do.
I do too. And this is obviously terrible with Tua's injury and everything, except I do feel like now they actually have a legitimate chance.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put, I mean, obviously we have to see how the rest of the season goes, but I don't think they're going to put Oregon in over them. And yeah, I think Alabama's out now because, I mean, that's not going to happen, which obviously Tua, horrible injury. So we can start there. Get well soon, Tua, obviously.
Yeah.
I before this injury wasn't 100% sold on Tua. I'm a Dolphins fan, so that was kind of the thing, like we're tanking for Tua. And then of course the Dolphins decided to stop tanking all of a sudden, which was fun. So now then it became the Bengals option. But he's probably going to fall in the draft, which I don't really think is a bad thing.
It's all going to depend on the injury and how bad it really is. Because if it's as bad as some people are speculating, he might not ever play the game the same way that he is now.
Right.
Or it could be something that he comes back from. So I think it's all just going to depend. But definitely his draft stock, I would think, is going to fall a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that. I hadn't thought about that. Just because everyone's kind of saying he's expected to make a full recovery. But, I mean, that kind of injury, do you ever make a full recovery from? And if he can't play the same way, being as mobile as he is.
Whenever I hear full recovery, I always think of Andrew Luck. It's the first thing that pops into my mind. Totally different injury, but we heard for 2 years, he's going to make a complete full recovery. He's going to be good to go by 6-month mark. Then it was a year mark, and you just never know with injuries.
But that's also a good point as to why, like, we know what the issue was with Andrew Luck. They invested everything in Andrew Luck and everything else except for the offensive line. So no matter how good he was, or even if he did ever get to like 98%, he was injured again automatically because the offensive line was a disaster. Right. So if Tua ends up going to one of these teams that's going to draft.
If I was a quarterback, I would just wait until I was put into a system that is a system that's sustainable and that's going to protect you. And that's the best way and the only way to really succeed.
Yeah, I mean, it is, especially if you're a young quarterback. Like if you're going to go to look at Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows what Baker does now.
I even think that you could even go as far, which this is a little bit of a stretch right now with Lamar, and say, had Lamar gone to a different team, I don't know if they would have built the system around him the way that they have in order to really run their offense through Lamar. You've got to go to a team that's going to really put that effort and run that offense through the quarterback and play to his strengths.
Totally. And Lamar runs a very unique offense, and they have, to their credit, built around Lamar Jackson, which is why I hate tanking. And I say that all the time. If you're going to take a quarterback, build around his strengths. Like, this is the guy, right? This is what everyone is looking for. If he's Baker Mayfield, you know he needs a strong offensive line. Don't trade away one of your best offensive linemen. If it's Lamar Jackson, put the pieces around him that he needs. And I don't know, at the same time, always have a defense, because
defenses win championships.
Yes. Okay, so speaking of Lamar, do you think he is unequivocally the MVP? Because it's pretty much like right here every week between him and Russell Wilson, but I just feel like
I feel like Deshaun Watson was in that conversation before this past weekend.
Right.
I think that Lamar is hands down the MVP just with what he's been able to do this year and the way that he's been able to run this entire Ravens offense. He's the epitome of a dual threat quarterback, and so is Russell Wilson, but Lamar Jackson is a little bit more of a Game Boy, playing on a Game Boy, a video game, his highlight reel. It's just insane.
Yeah, no, he
leads the league in broken tackles. He's obviously breaking records in terms of rushing and passing touchdowns. So
yeah, no, I think he is too. We had a moment on the herd earlier today. I don't know if you guys heard, but Colin discovered Gucci Mane.
What?
You didn't see this? Okay, so anyway,
no, I need to see this.
Yeah, it's I died a little bit. I'm not gonna tell. I told him I started sweating. I was really nervous because he said he was gonna read a tweet by Gucci Mane on the air, and he hadn't run it by me before, so this was on the spot, like live television. But he trusted his judgment and went for it. And he read. It was fine. Well, mostly, but it was Lamar Jackson's shirt. Nobody cares. Work harder.
Yeah.
So Gucci tweeted it, and he was like, "You know who Gucci is?" Anyway, but the point is, I love Lamar's swag and style, and that just triggered me back to that.
You've seen some of those sideline
thing.
videos of him, just the way that he talks to even Harbaugh when Harbaugh's like,
Oh my God, they told him they loved each other.
I know.
Would
And he's
you
like,
die?
you're special. Like he throws his body on the line. He carries the team on his back. If it's 3rd and 3, you know that Lamar is just going to throw himself into it. He doesn't worry about getting. Every time I see him start running, I'm thinking, oh my God, his poor knees.
Right.
Somebody's going to.
I know. That is the one thing that concerns me about him. I would like him to take less hits. Speaking of Harbaugh, I love that moment. I'm not going to lie. I held back a tear. But I can't do it. Like when grown men start being emotional and vulnerable, it does something to me. I can't help it. If you're a grown man, you cry in front of me, I'm going to cry automatically, even if I don't care about what you're going through. Like it's just how it goes. But that said, I do think that Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, and John Gruden should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. I kind of lean towards John Gruden at this point, but who do you think should be Coach of the Year at this point in the season anyway?
I like John Harbaugh, just looking at what he's done and how he was able to win a Super Bowl with a quarterback like Joe Flacco.
Right.
And now, can we just look at the difference here?
He did do that.
And now he's entirely changing
Right.
his offense, and the way that he's kind of called plays this year and what he did to the Patriots is unbelievable.
Yeah, he is one of those. He's one of those coaches that going up against the Patriots, you feel like you have a chance no matter who it is that you're playing with.
Yeah, and then I also think that you've got to throw LaFleur into this conversation.
Yeah.
Shanahan into this conversation. Look at what he's done with the Niners. Look at what Matt LaFleur has done with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, which obviously I don't know Aaron Rodgers personally, but there was issues before, and the way that he's been able to deal with him and their chemistry and their relationship and how successful the Packers have been this year. And then there's Shanahan with the Niners.
Yeah, I think if I have to guess at this point, it's probably going to end up going to Shanahan.
I feel like Shanahan is the McVay of last year.
Yes. Okay, so that's interesting that you said that, because Colin also did his list of like Super Bowls that he would like to see, and like 5 of them I disagree with, because almost all of them included the Patriots, which I don't want to see another Patriots Super Bowl. I don't need it in my life. We've seen every version of the Patriots.
I couldn't agree more.
I just can't do it anymore. But there were a few that I could tolerate, like Breeze. But anyway, he said one of the matchups he'd want to see is the 49ers against the Patriots, and I was like, that's last year. We got that. That was the Rams.
Yeah.
And
No, that's a very
I feel
good
like
comparison.
the 49ers are the Rams of this year.
I couldn't agree more.
But do you
I think that even the quarterbacks you can kind of see that it's the other strengths. It's not necessarily, granted, Garoppolo had an incredible game last week. He had a career day. But before that, you weren't really relying on Garoppolo. You were relying on his other weapons. You were relying on their run game. You were relying on their offensive line. You were relying on their defense.
Right.
That's, if you think about it, that's a little bit what they were doing with Goff. And Goff's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He had in the Chiefs game, he's in the Saints game. He's had amazing games, and he's performed when he's needed to. But I think that that's another example of a coach building a system around a quarterback.
Right. And I don't think that the Rams are done. I think that their offensive line this year was demolished, and that's really what it comes down to. And for some reason, they just decided to stop running the ball, which I don't understand. They did it in the last game, and it worked. What do you know? You just forced it to run the ball. What
But
else
I
do you have
don't
to
know.
lose?
I don't know if it's something that Gurley can.
No, Gurley's fine. They're gonna.
He's not a 3-down back anymore.
No, he's not. They need
know
a
that they
supplemental
need to
back for that situation.
Load management in terms of basketball. They need to do that in terms of Gurley.
Yeah. What is the biggest disappointment? Who's been but like what team? Who or what team has been the biggest disappointment for you this year?
That's a tough one. I actually saw that on your list of questions, and I thought, I don't know who's been that. I think
for me, it's
the Steelers, the Browns, definitely the Browns.
I mean, I wouldn't say the Steelers only because, but only because Ben got hurt.
Yeah.
So disappointing in that Ben got hurt, but like what I expected from them.
Well, everybody expected that the Browns were going to be incredible. But
Right.
I think that what it comes down to is something that you mentioned earlier. Don't trade away an offensive lineman for a receiver like Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is amazing. He's gonna make catches that probably nobody else really can, but you're not gonna give your quarterback enough time. If he had more time, if he had this offensive lineman, then he would be able to throw to receivers that are half as good, but he would have the time to do it.
Right.
So it wouldn't matter if you had an OBJ out there making those plays.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues with the Browns, which we could go on about forever, and I have. But yeah, the coach is a huge issue. What was your reaction, first of all, when you saw the Garrett Rudolph fight, like in its entirety, and then what do you think caused that situation? Like in a macro sense, like not literally who started it, but like what is the cause of that kind of behavior with the Browns?
Undisciplined?
Yes, I mean, yeah.
Just flat out undisciplined. And I think that it shows that their players are frustrated and they're just angry. And I don't think that it was indicative of Myles Garrett's character. All of his teammates have come out and said if we had to name somebody that would have done that, he would have been like the last on the list. This is not who he is. And I just think that there's just no discipline on that team. And it's unfortunate because it's not something that the league can condone. I think they did the right thing by suspending him for the rest of the year. Now, do I think that there's something weird that went on with Mason Rudolph? Sure. Do I think that he should be punished? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rudolph should have gotten a game. He also, like, don't forget, you're a quarterback, dude. Like, those fights are not for you.
Yeah.
You get protected enough as it is, and if you're going to instigate a situation, and in no way am I condoning what Myles Garrett did. It was ridiculous, like way over the top. But I don't like him like continuing to go after Garrett, and then it happens, and he's like throwing his hands in the air, like, come on, you're holding me back,
playing
bro.
The victim.
You're that guy, the hold me back, bro, in the fight, like in the bar fight. Hold me back, bro. Hold me back, I swear, bro. Nobody likes that dude. So don't be that dude. If anything, don't be that dude. All right, so big game this weekend, Cowboys, Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 6.5 or 7, I think. I think it's down to 6.5 on Fox Bet, which I think is a huge line. But it is in Foxborough.
Yeah.
What do you make of the Cowboys this year, Dak in particular?
I think Dak's played outstanding. I think that in critical moments, he has pulled through. I can tell you're already like...
No, I love Dak. I am a huge Dak
fan.
You? I think they should pay him all the monies. And I don't understand. I don't understand
why
what the pushback on Dak is. I truly don't understand it at this point.
No, I mean I think Dak's played very well. I mean, the first 5 games of the season they had gone. I thought they started off super strong. They were possibly.
I mean, they're 6-4. Like they've struggled a little bit this year, but it is what it is. Like Zeke hasn't been what he's been in the past.
Not at all. Which is
they had some injuries. Like they're the Cowboys are what they are because of Dak. And my question with the Cowboys, and I hate to put it on the coach, but I'm kind of starting to sway this way. Like after a while, we know what Dak is now. Like Dak is getting better, right?
Yeah.
Like we always thought that the offense was going through Zeke. Every conversation about the Cowboys offense, it's not about Dak. It's not about Dak. It's about Zeke. Well, Zeke hasn't been performing to the level that he was in his rookie year.
Not at all.
So now it's
and
obvious
Dak
that it
Prescott
is Dak.
Is performing to the level that he was in his rookie year, and even better.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should pay Dak. They will.
I think they will too.
I don't like that they didn't pay him this year, but what are you going to do? Jerry's going to take care of him, though. He's made Jerry much more wealthy than a very, very wealthy man he already was. What do you think that Carolina should do about Cam Newton?
So this is so funny because the NFL does change from week to week. Like 1 week you think one thing and then the next you think another.
Yeah, like
2 weeks ago we thought Kyle Allen was the future. We're like, I am officially sold on Kyle Allen. He's the guy. Goodbye, Cam Newton. And then last week happened. And you're like, okay, let's backtrack a little bit here. Cam Newton is former MVP.
Yes.
He's taken his team to the Super Bowl. They didn't win, but he took his team to the Super Bowl. He's a good quarterback. I think that this team would be in a better situation had he been fully healthy. I just don't think he was ever fully healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I don't think he is. I don't think he ever plays
I don't
healthy.
think your coach was already trying to design plays where you weren't running the ball. Your coach is already they changed his entire throwing motion in the offseason after his shoulder. Why are you changing a quarterback that's gone to the Super Bowl's throwing motion? It's a little confusing. You weren't having him run, which he's a mobile quarterback. You're not having him throw. Something was off. And so I think that this team would be in a much different situation had it been Cam Newton leading this team.
And that all that said, it's kind of, now that you say all those things, because I kind of forgot about that, all right, look, everyone don't lose their minds, but it's just coming to me in this moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna speak freely because it's my podcast and I can. It kind of feels a little bit like a blessing in disguise, a little LeBron-esque, right? Like LeBron got injured this year. Their season was a disaster. He didn't have to play through a long, strenuous playoff run.
Yeah.
Right? Cam Newton's not having to play through these injuries. He has this time off to recover. So then he's going to come back next year and be fully healthy at the age of 30. I mean, I'm not saying he's LeBron, but Cam Newton is an incredible athlete.
Oh, yeah.
And largely mobile quarterback. So if he is actually playing at 100%.
He's tall, he's built, he's big, he's hard to take down, he's mobile, he's got it all.
Yes. I'm telling you. I'm a huge Cam fan. I think that the NFL is better when Cam is playing. And if he comes back 100% healthy and gets with the right team next year,
it is weird that he did have to go.
It is going to be revenge tour. He's just going to straight up steal all LeBron's stuff.
It is weird, though, that he recently went to a doctor in Green Bay, I think it is, to figure out why is he not recovering.
Yeah, well, because he didn't have the surgery for his Liz Frank. He has a Liz Frank injury on his foot, and he was trying to do it without surgery, and then so he was trying to get a second opinion. But that seems like a very hard injury to come back from because a lot of guys struggle with that. Are you a fan of any particular team? I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm like grandfathered in Steelers fan, but I also love the Dolphins. My brother played there a long time, and I went to school in Miami. I loved it, and it was really Dan Marino's fault. But anyway,
we're kind of like enemies because I was kind of like, I'm grandfathered into because like my family's like a big Ravens fan.
Yeah, so you are a Ravens
But
fan.
I grew up in Atlanta, so I've always been a Falcons fan as well. And now that I feel like, obviously you've been doing the same, covering the league for so long, you kind of start falling in love with the players more.
Yeah.
And I still have like a really soft spot for the Chargers now because I cover them a lot. I have a soft spot for the Rams because I cover them a lot. You start having soft spots for all these different teams. My gosh, I even have a soft spot for the Steelers. Like I love tons of their players on their team.
Right.
So you kind of find yourself rooting for players. Obviously, you still have your team.
Right.
You love your team. You're always going to root for your team. But you feel this emotional connection to these players just as much as
and I think that's kind
team.
of where everything is trending in general. Obviously, the NBA is a huge star-driven league, so I think that people are much bigger fans of particular players now over teams more than ever.
And now
but
with fantasy football, I feel like especially the younger generations, they're only following players in terms of who's on their fantasy team and who isn't.
Right. So but okay, look, I don't hate the Ravens. So we have a mutual. All right, I won't make you say it, but we have a mutual.
I love the rivalry, and I hate it when people are like, "Oh, I love the rivalry." I love the rivalry, and I grew up in the South. I'm from Atlanta, SEC.
Right.
I love the rivalries of the SEC teams. It's
there's
unlike anything else. Yeah, it's. You understand it with each other. It's a mutual respect.
But there's a respect between the Ravens and the Steelers. There's
not day of the game.
No.
But before and after, there's a respect. Oh, no, not
I mean,
day
it's
of
just
the game.
I'm saying there's not that same level of respect when it comes to the Browns. Like, when the Ravens play the Browns, it's not it's not the same thing. And when the Steelers play the Browns, it's like, okay, it is a rivalry, but we own you.
Right.
So, not really. You got to win sometimes in order for it to be a true, you have to walk into the game
I think that the Steelers-Ravens is the best rivalry in the NFL.
I think it is too, because people talk about the Cowboys-Packers, and that's cute, but there's no animosity. There's true animosity, but a respectful level of animosity.
It's so funny listening to the rookies that kind of either go to the Steelers or the Ravens, and they always say the second you just walk into the locker room, you can just the very first time that the Ravens and Steelers play each other, you just feel the hatred, and all of a sudden you are just grandfathered into it, and you feel the exact same way. It's in your blood.
It is. It's fun. Those are the games every year that I look forward to, no matter what state either of the teams are, and it's why I have so much respect for what the Ravens are doing this year, because again, I hate when teams get to a spot and nobody wants to see the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not actively rooting against the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't understand, and it's why. So you have the Falcons say obviously I agree with you as far as the players go, but you're kind of in the same situation as me. You have the Falcons, but obviously you have the Ravens. So for me, every year, basically what I do is I start off as a Dolphins fan for the first 6 games, and then inevitably they're struggling and out of the playoffs, and I can just smoothly transition into the Steelers because they're always competitive.
Yeah.
But this year, obviously we knew going into the year the Dolphins are not going to be competitive, and I don't I do like Brian Flores, and I do think they play hard because I don't think that players or coaches ever tank. That's not a mentality that provides you to be a professional at that level.
Everybody wants to win. You don't want to put your players out there to just get defeated every time.
No, and every game that you go out there, whether you're a coach or a player, that's tape for your future.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, you and I work in television. Not the same thing. Again, I am not comparing working in television to playing NFL football.
No, but I mean, if you don't want to, say you didn't want to.
We don't get to have bad
Yeah.
days. I don't get to have a bad day. I don't have a bad day ever.
You're always perfect.
Thank you. I mean, but it's just not available, right? Like, you can't,
Right.
it's not a thing, like, you're
Just
not
for
allowed
your
to just go
own
out there, like, yeah, I'm just not going to play hard today.
self-respect, you know, like you
But
don't
also,
want to
like,
sit
you
there
have
and-
a future that you're concerned about,
right.
too. Like, guys
and
are gonna
coaches
go-
certainly have a future that they're
Right.
worried about. Nobody's guaranteed for the next 10 years unless you're John Gruden.
Right, but organizations like the Ravens, even if you are, and you would know this, like being around the Ravens, like you have a solid ownership, front office, coaching, culture that creates and breeds a winning environment for the
Yeah.
entire organization. Like everyone
When
that's
people
a part
aren't,
of it.
I think it's with any business, when people aren't sitting there and they're always like looking over their back or concerned about their own jobs or feel like it's so cutthroat where you're
Right.
talking negatively about each other. We saw this with the Browns last year where everybody's just kind of talking terribly about each other. That's not a healthy culture and environment to be in. That's not going to plant seeds for success.
Not at all.
That's going to plant seeds for just a toxic environment, and that's certainly not going to provide for a team that's going to play well.
Right. So we have to watch the Steelers-Ravens game together then and see how that goes. All right. So what's your Super Bowl prediction right now? If you had a different one at the beginning of the season, I won't hold you to it. Mine is the Chiefs and Cowboys. It's not looking good, but
Mine
I'm going to stick
is-
with it for now.
Niners, Ravens. I think it's going to
can
be
deal with that.
another New Orleans one when it's going to be, instead of Flacco and Kaepernick, it's going to be Lamar and Jimmy. Quite a different team.
I could see that. I could see if the Seahawks end up going up against the 49ers again, them getting the best of them and making it there. I'm comfortable with everything as long as it's the Ravens. Because I don't think the Chiefs have a chance at this point.
See, that's the one team
and
that
can't
I
handle
think
another
that
Patriots.
obviously the Ravens did lose to the Chiefs. That's the one team that I think in the AFC that the Ravens are going to have the hardest time with.
My only concern about I have lots of concerns about the Chiefs, but their defense did play good last night. They were impressive because, I mean, the offense was completely lacking. They just always seem to have an injury. Like, Tyreek Hill cannot stay healthy.
Yeah.
You got, like, I'm worried about LaShawn McCoy.
They have so many other weapons, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel the same way I felt about them at the beginning of the season. And obviously the Patrick Mahomes injury, even though he's healthy now, like really they had some bad losses at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
At home too. But I'm
defense
rooting
is
for your
definitely
Ravens.
the defense is definitely the biggest concern, I think, on that Chiefs
Yeah, no,
team.
the defense. I mean, their run defense is like the worst in the league. I think they're 28th in run defense. Like, that can't happen. Well, I'm rooting for that because once again, we don't need another Patriots Super Bowl. Please, sports gods. Okay, lastly, before we get you out of here, Heller, our producer, did some research.
Yes.
And we found out that you eat chocolate every day.
Oh, I was actually just with my manager last night and she's like, Taylor, we need to go to the doctor together. You are going to get diabetes. Like, I eat ice cream almost 4 to 5 days a week for breakfast. It's disgusting. I get so, I crave, don't laugh. You guys are all
Jeremy laughing?
No, it's disgusting.
If Jeremy has reacted to what you're saying, it's a
My
big
mom,
deal.
when my mom comes into town, the first thing that she does is she goes into my freezer and throws all my gallons of ice cream. I'm like, what are you
Wait,
doing?
so you're the person that buys ice cream at the store?
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't. Okay, I've said this many times. I don't.
That's the only
I
thing
never
in my
see
freezer.
anyone buy ice cream. Like, you physically go and buy ice cream to have in your house.
Or sometimes I do Postmates delivery because if you
Postmates
spend a certain amount, you get free delivery.
Okay, so first of all, we have to hold on. All right,
I just
original
crave
statement.
sugar constantly. Like, I have to have sugar the first thing in the morning when I wake up, the last thing I do before bed, and I have to have it throughout the day. Like, you should see my desk at work. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I'm concerned for you as well.
I am too.
Okay, so you eat ice cream.
You did some digging.
Okay, yeah, but I thought just have a chocolate.
I'm gonna find out next time I'm here. I'm gonna find out what your vice is.
You don't want to know. It's like he finally gave up drinking coffee in a cold press in a mason jar. So there's plenty. Okay, wait a minute. So you said 3 to 4 days a week you eat ice cream for breakfast?
For breakfast. But I have, what I do is I also have some oatmeal with it.
Oh, that's of course.
No, I do.
Taylor, what do you mean? So what on the other days that you aren't eating ice cream for breakfast, what are you eating?
I'm usually going to brunch with people. I'm not going to order it at when I go.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't
in
want
public.
people to judge me.
Right. No, we're totally not judging you. Wait. So do you order like French toast or something?
Yeah, I like pancakes, I like French toast, I like
Okay.
waffles, and I also like if I go to, I like getting like a random like scramble or something.
Yeah.
Like I'll eat that. But
I mean,
I have to have
I am
something
not a
chocolate
healthy
afterwards.
eater, to be like frank at all. Like I've just decided I don't care anymore. But ice cream, that's crazy.
It's not good.
So is it at least like the Halo Top, or it's like legit milk ice
I
cream?
like Halo Top. It's fine.
First of all, Halo Top is not ice cream. It's
not ice cream.
It's not ice cream. I'm with you there.
No, like right now I'm on. I go through like random phases or kicks. So my previous one was half baked, and right now I'm on salt and straw because they've had that free delivery thing. It's a little expensive though, and so I really need to switch over to a different
that's
one.
An expensive habit. Salt
It
and
is an
straw is
expensive
really
habit.
good though. If you're in LA and you haven't been to Salt and Straw, first of all, you're tripping. But I don't believe in lines, like fundamentally.
No, that's why you
But-
go. You don't even have to wait in the lines. That's what I'm saying.
know.
I did it on a
have
Saturday night
done
last
that.
week. I went straight to the front of the line because you just buy them in the pints.
Yeah,
You don't even have to wait.
I've done that once. But okay, so you
Yeah, I think I've done it like twice. That's the only reason why I know. Right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's something. I've never heard that in my
something.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you mean you're in amazing shape? What do you do? Work out like 10 hours a day?
I live on the west side, so I try and like walk the beach like 4 days a week. Probably the days that I eat the ice cream.
Taylor, you are legitimately living your best life.
No, it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
I don't think you should. I
My
think
insides
everything
are
is
just
working
like,
for
help.
you.
We really want greens.
Whatever you're doing is working for you. Don't even
But like
worry
I don't
about it.
eat like crap like all my other meals. Like I eat sushi, I eat fish. Like it's not
So
like
you
I'm
eat
just
healthy like the rest of the time. Well, then
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
You know what I
thank
mean?
you.
You're not out here eating like bacon and hamburgers like me. I'm just like, I'm judging you because I don't eat ice cream. Like, what? Okay, well, what's all this? I eat cheese every day. You are living your best life.
I don't like
Ice cream
cheese.
for
There you
breakfast?
go.
You don't like cheese?
Like I like if it's disguised in like pasta, like if it's disguised or like on a cheeseburger. I don't like you will
So you wouldn't
never
eat like a cheese board.
Oh my god, no. Oh god, that sounds terrible. I would order a chocolate board while they ordered the cheese board.
A chocolate board. They should have chocolate boards actually. Wow, you don't like cheese.
We're a match made in heaven.
We are. I'll eat all your cheese, and you can have all my chocolate. That's crazy. I eat cheese every day, and I would cry if I saw
like I
someone
like pizza, but like I don't. I want to have a lot of like sauce on the pizza too to kind of disguise the cheese.
disguise the cheese. The cheese is the only reason I eat pizza. I would not even eat pizza if there wasn't for cheese. Well, that's something. Okay.
The
All right,
most
so we
interesting
just
thing
split
we
things.
talked on the podcast.
That is really like what you've just said is dramatic. Okay, like eating ice cream 3 times a week for breakfast is dramatic for sure. But I also don't eat well, so I don't know what the big deal is. But that's really.
They always say if you eat
And you don't like cheese.
if you eat like your worst meal in the morning, it's supposed to be the best.
Is that
thing
well? Yeah,
should
because then
do.
you have all day to burn it
Right.
off. But you also eat it again at night.
Okay, well that's minor details.
They say you burn calories in your sleep, though.
Yeah.
So, maybe whatever you're doing is working. So don't even worry about it. But I'm really that's the thing, the cheese thing. Once I saw on one of those tattoo shows, I think it was LA Ink. I think it was that one. This guy came in and he wanted a tattoo of like a piece of cheese, like Swiss cheese. And I was like, why would you ever do that? And he was like, well, he found out like recently that he couldn't have cheese anymore. And I was
so
like,
you wanted
I
to
would do
always
that.
remember it and look at it?
Yes, he's just like commemorating his time with cheese, and I would honestly I would do that it would be like if you couldn't eat ice cream anymore. If you go to your doctor, which your friends recommended, which I don't recommend because
I don't either.
It could change your life.
It could.
Right. So just don't even worry about it. You're fine.
Ignorance is bliss.
I agree. Although I did go to a doctor and they told me that I could have cheese, which is why I eat cheese every day. I don't think they were considering the fat in it.
Well, I'm just gonna
But-
group myself in with you and say, well, if Joy can eat cheese, I can eat ice cream.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're
It
good.
kinda works like
I
that.
actually changed my mind on all of it. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
We're good. We're totally fine. Just live life. It's what it's here for. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
We
you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. You can catch Taylor on NFL Network and follow her on Instagram. It's just Taylor Bisciotti, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a great follow. I follow her.
Great dessert recommendations too.
Yes, clearly. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.